Meet Bridgit and Jen, your go-to gals for laughs, wisdom, and real talk on the podcast Don't Get Me Started. From relationships to finding joy, they'll keep you inspired and entertained through life's adventures after 50. So hit that subscribe button and join Bridgit and Jen for Don't Get Me Started, because life's too short for boring conversations.
Welcome back to another episode of Don't Get Me Started with Bridgit and Jen. So welcome. Today we're going to discuss the reinvention of self after 50.
Yeah. Because we've both done that.
Is that when you feel like that was, like, how would you say that was different than turning 40?
40, it was still, the kids were still younger.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're still very in the trenches with them,
I was getting remarried at 40,
Yeah.
so it was still about other people at the time.
Right. And I think that's just it. I think you just hit it on the head. It's about others. And then, you get to this next stage where you can start to, because really what happened with me was the pandemic, And so my oldest was about to graduate from high school. My son was going to graduate in 21. And so, they were going to go off and start their new chapters, right?
Yep.
Well, in 20, everything shut down. So we didn't have all of these activities that we had to be at. So it was like, oh, great. Now it's time for me, because we're not going to anything,
Yeah.
to start what I want to do,
Yeah, honestly, 50 was an extremely pivotal age for me.
Mm-hmm.
For reasons that I still can't figure out.
Mm-hmm.
When I turned 50, I went into rehab
Mm-hmm.
for the first time in my life. And that was the beginning of, I've said it before,
Mm-hmm.
my second life in my lifetime.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And
But
so,
what a gift.
oh my God,
And
I can't even tell you. And, if you know anything about recovery, you're going to be surrounded by people that have not accepted that gift of recovery.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that brings in a whole new, that's a whole nother episode.
Yeah.
Of dealing with people and when to help and when to let be.
Mm-hmm.
But so anyway, so at 50, this has a lot to do with, I think, why I threw in the towel.
Mm-hmm.
At that age.
Yeah.
Is that it was the first time in my life that our household was quiet.
Yeah.
And I did not like that. It didn't sit well with me. It never sat well with me to have a quiet house.
Yeah.
On a weekend where most people were like, oh my God, get a book, relax. I can't, that's not, it was I loved the chatter of the kids and the footsteps and stuff going on and taking, sports and, Dan coached all the kids. And so all that. And so honestly, I was alone here on Sanibel for the first time. I was not working.
Yeah.
My last child had gone to college, and it was a quiet house. And for me, the day that I went upstairs, because at the time, all four of our teens lived in the upper level of our home, and Dan and I lived down below. And I went upstairs because obviously I, being the drinker that I was, I slept in a bit later than my husband. And so I went upstairs to get a cup of coffee, and I thought how much more fun it would be to have a Prosecco at 8 o'clock in the morning instead of a cup of coffee.
Mm-hmm.
And then what that does to an alcoholic brain is now automatically that becomes the new norm.
Okay.
So now every morning.
Mhm.
It starts at 8.
Yeah.
And thank God, as my daughter puts it, Mom, you had a graceful bottom. You know, as far as hitting rock bottom.
Right.
It happened fast and furious, so I couldn't get into too much trouble. But it definitely was a new way of life, and my marriage got 100% better. I was able to see my husband for who he really is,
Right.
through clear eyes, you know, this amazing person, and my kids, and I've learned to, they're adults now. They don't need me. I mean, I'm always here to support them, but I don't have to control their future anymore. That was the biggest, you know, thing for me to let go and be happy about it. So, yeah, I've only been alive, I feel, for 10 years right now, you know, and it just gets better. And I've got so much to learn, you know.
Well, and I think there's so many women too that this second chapter, this next chapter, you know, they don't know what it holds, right? Maybe they are afraid to take that next step. Maybe they don't know how to take that first step.
I get asked that question so much on my other platforms. How do I get down there? How do I do what you're doing? You know, it'll be, how do I get to do what you and Jen are doing, living in paradise? And I say, do it.
You just have to, right. Yeah.
So, okay. Well, here's a good one. So you mentioned the pandemic.
Yes.
And at that time, so this, I want to discuss what you and I do for a living now. Okay.
Yep.
So for the pandemic, we still had our restaurant.
Oh, wow.
Okay. And it was a huge change in the restaurant industry. Because anything that you had in your restaurant that had to do with interaction with the customer had to go away. We had a big cutout of cute chickens that David Morton, the cartoonist, made for us. Okay, so you stick your little faces in. That had to go. That was one of our biggest, you know, people put on Instagram and Facebook. That had to go because people were touching it. We had a huge sauce bar. You know, every sauce you could put on that had to go because hands were touching it. You know, you couldn't. So, and you know, masks, we all had masks. So anyway, that affected the restaurant industry. Got through it, however.
Although we came down here to get away from the madness, because down here it was not nearly as crazy as it was up north. So we came down here to escape the crazy of always, because it was a little bit more relaxed when it came to the masks and all that jazz. And so that was our jam.
I do get that. I do understand that completely, that we did have it completely different, but it was still very strict for us here.
Right.
So,
but it was a whole new world down here for us who were like in absolute like crazy town. Yeah.
So, Ian is what it spun me into a new career.
Okay, so September of 22.
Yeah. September of 22. So the evening before Ian, we walked out of the restaurant. You know, schedule for the next week was still on the wall. You know, the food was prepped and ready to go. Locked the door. Never went back in. Isn't that crazy?
It is.
That was Ian. People were scheduled to come into work the next week, you know? So we locked the door on that location and have never been back. And since then, again, another whole episode, we have since bought into a new location. However, nothing's, you know, been done for 2.5 years. So the hurricane spun me off into TikTok, which I did to stay sane. Stay sane.
And so where can, if people don't know your TikTok handle, where can they find you on there?
Bridgit with an I, Bridgits, Sanibel, Secret. Bridgit Sanibel Secret. So, yeah, that I'm gonna try and paraphrase that. Took me to my daily routine, which was hoofing it or getting on my bike, neighborhood, or go around the island, and then my job on the way home every day, which was about 2 or 3. That was a full day because you went to bed when it got dark because there were no lights. There were no lights, right?
Right. It was dark here.
Yeah.
Well, there was no electricity.
No.
And so even with electricity on this island at night, it's dark. So without electricity, it's even darker.
Yeah. So I would,
The turtles were happy.
Yeah, early afternoon. My job was to stop at the church and pick up a bag of ice and a case of water.
Yeah.
And I put it in the basket and flip my bike, and I'd go home, and then that was, spam on the grill and early to bed. So I met 2 women, the founders of Anchored Secrets, and they asked if I would collaborate with them on this product. So we started doing that, and I started collaborating with the No Seam product because, as you remember, oh my God, after the hurricane, we have no seams on Sanibel. If you don't know what they are, Google them. So then that
experience them for yourself.
So then that led to another skincare line.
Yeah.
And then my photography led to coffee table books. And then my TikTok audience led me to Bridget's Bandeaus. And is it pies? Oh, and then so Bridget's Pies, which is an extension of the Pecking Order, which was the name of our restaurant. The city had granted me permission to continue making my pies using ghost kitchens of various restaurants. And so I feel like I've just given like 5 plugs currently at the Magic Bus, which is where you can get my pies right now. So that's I rolled with it.
Right.
I'm not afraid to roll with the changes, and that's where it's brought me to now, which I'm extremely happy.
Yeah.
Okay, your turn.
Yeah. So I was a stay-at-home mom until the pandemic. I was a Spanish teacher before my oldest daughter was born, and then was home. And when I say home, I mean I was home, but then I was also doing everything in their classrooms, volunteering for the PTA and the booster clubs and whatnot. And so, I was still very involved and very busy with their lives, And then, like I said, the pandemic hit, and then suddenly didn't have their lives to be involved with, so I could do my own thing. And so that's when I started my own business, my Strong for Life fitness business, where I work with, midlife women to help them, manage these changes that were
Strong for Life.
Yep.
Is that a .com?
Not anymore. So,
okay.
Yeah. No, it used to be, and then I just went with an easier one, which is just workwithjenshaver.com.
Okay, workwithjenshaver.com.
Yep.
Okay.
But the company is still Strong for Life Fitness. So I went from, teaching middle school Spanish to working with middle-aged women. So I have a thing for the middle.
Okay, and so do you find that do you get the same resistance from your other audience members other than, am I the only resistant one you have?
No, you are not. No, but I think everybody is struggling, especially midlife women, because we have all been fed such a line of crap you know, our entire lives.
Oh my God,
from
that's a
the
whole nother
diet
episode. Yeah.
industry.
Mhm.
And so what I have to work with is try to unravel that and help women unlearn something that they have been conditioned to for how many years, right? And so that's what I'm up against.
What I love about your approach, which I think is why I was attracted to your disciplined routine, that's the big difference between Jen and I, is I'm, you know, free-spirited, loosey-goosey, and she's got discipline. Okay, so that
But that's what
to
makes
me
us a
works
great
well.
team.
Yeah. But what I like, what Jen does is, you know, there's the, I I always had the frame of mind that I had to get my gear on and look appropriate before I would go to the gym, you know, to work out. And I always preferred working out at home, but I always bought a gym membership because it just felt like the thing to do.
Yeah.
You know, so I channeled you yesterday because I got a delivery. I get my product delivery at my home.
Right.
Okay. And so I get number 10 cans like that of sweetened condensed milk, okay, for my key lime pies. So my husband brings them up the stairs for me, you know, the cases. And so I was transferring them from, you know, the kitchen where I opened them into storage. So I was picking up a number 10 can in each hand. They're heavy,
Yeah.
you know, and so as I'm walking through the living, I'm going like this.
Yeah.
Because that's what we can do. We can do that.
Right.
With
Yep.
everything, you know, everything that we do, you don't have to set aside that half hour to go to the gym because that's what makes me not do it.
Right. Right.
Is setting aside getting in the car and driving to do that. But if you can just walk around like that or stand in a doorway and do push-ups.
Yep. It's
So,
just about, you know, working it into the day. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see here. The rewards of our new life, the pride of doing something new and thriving, and how have our careers enriched our lives creatively, financially, and emotionally?
Well, I mean, I would say, you know, I get to work with women from all over. I have women that I work with that are in Connecticut. I have women who I work with that are here in Florida. I have women in Ohio. I have women in Colorado.
Didn't I see you do a podcast with a woman from the UK?
I have done several podcasts from UK, Ireland, Australia. And so it's working with and meeting so many amazing women that, you know, it's just very inspiring, you know, to just meet all these great women and to chat with them and to, because some of them are my clients and some of them, like you mentioned, are over our guests on my podcast. And, you know, they each, the funny thing is while we are all so different, we are all very alike, especially at this stage of our lives. And we're all, you know, just trying to make it through, you know?
Yeah, you know, my husband always says if you enjoy what you do, you never work a day in your life.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And I 100% love how I spend my days now. And I'm so grateful. I never want to take that for granted. You know, and I do know, I do realize that I am privileged in that I can wake up and decide what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Like that's something people strive for. And I remember, you know, when my kids were younger and, you know, they all wanted just to go straight into owning their own business, you know, and Dan and I both discouraged it, you know, because my philosophy was, you know, I was in corporate America for the majority of my life.
Yeah.
I was in corporate America until until 50. Like, so 50 is a
50 was a big
very,
year for you.
very pivotal year for me. So I was incorporating, okay, so then I feel as though I now have learned enough and deserved and saved a nest egg, like that, like
Yeah.
those three things to me: experience,
Mhm.
knowledge, and money.
Right.
Okay, now you can learn what you can from somebody else,
Yes.
you know, and
Yep.
then, so, but, you know, I can't, they're gonna do how they're gonna do. So
Mhm.
it's not,
Mhm.
that's not
Well,
my
and
decision.
it's not easy to start your own business either, you know? I mean, it's not just, you know.
Just because you're good at something, it
Right.
does not mean you can run a business with it. I know,
Right.
I know.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I do my gratitude list every morning.
Mhm.
Like I said, I wake up very happy.
Yeah.
And happy to be here and
Yep.
very grateful. And I know that, you know, I get to, like I said, I get to choose how to spend my day.
Right.
What am I going to do today? Am I gonna, you know, promote on social media, you know, the different things that I do, my husband's company, my daughter's company, my son, like or do I want to go take a walk in a preserve and
Right.
do some grounding?
Yeah.
You know, that's what I like to
Mhm.
do. If I start getting wonky,
Yeah.
you know, seriously, you just ground yourself, get
Mhm.
out there
Yeah.
in nature.
Right. Right. Which I think a lot of people are missing. It's something
Exactly.
so simple, you know, it's
Bare skin on dirt.
Yeah.
It's the truth.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see here. Don't forget, share with us your reinvention stories. What was the biggest pivot in your life? What age were you?
Yeah.
I bet you it's gonna be 40 or 50.
Yeah. Yeah. Or what hurdles
Yeah.
did you have? You know, did you have any?
What
Did
hurdles
you
do you
learn?
still have?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because this is, you know, what also, which again, whole nother episode, is what starts happening to us in this phase
Yeah.
is caregiving.
Well, that's just it. And that's why, you know, this particular part of life is called the sandwich generation, because we still have our kids. Right now they might be grown and doing their own thing, but we still have them.
Yep.
Right. And then they're also having children. You watch your granddaughter, right?
Yep.
So you're caregiving there, but then we also have another set of parents, or maybe, you know, it's an older adult that is special in your life. It doesn't necessarily have to be a parent that we're now doing caregiving there. So it's part of that sandwich generation, but we have to remember that we have to take care of ourselves in that equation,
Heck
right?
yeah.
Because if we
Yeah.
don't, then we can't help either side.
It's
of
just
that
like,
equation.
you know, taking
Yeah.
the oxygen on an airplane. You got to take it first
Right.
before you can help anybody else around
Right.
you.
Yeah.
I had a very interesting conversation with my mom recently, and it just sort of dawned on me. We were discussing something, whether it was so just so you know, uh, so I caregive for my father-in-law who's 92 and he's in assisted living
Mhm.
close by.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like kind of a everyday thing.
Mhm.
And then I've got my mom who, you know, lives with us, and she's 83,
Mhm.
soon to be 84. And so I think it was I got her like that little beep.
Oh, the alert.
If I fall, you know,
Yeah.
something, so that she can have some independence. But if
Right.
I'm not there,
Mhm.
you know, somebody can be notified. Anyway, she had sent me a message, and it was something like, you know, I thank you for that. I
Mhm.
feel loved and cared for.
Oh.
My reaction to that, though, was, well, you're welcome, but I'm sorry that you don't feel that all the time. Do you know what I'm saying?
I
Like
see
that
what you're
was,
saying. Yeah.
that's what,
Yeah,
how I took
like
it.
this,
Maybe
right,
that's not
yeah.
how she meant it, but I said, I'm sorry you don't feel that way all the time. And then her and I both like had this epiphany. And I said to her, I'm not very good at that.
Uh-huh.
I'm I'm not very good at that. I said, uh, the roles are reversing. And when I look to you for love and support for the past, what, I don't know, 50 years.
Right.
And so now you're looking to me for love and support.
Uh-huh.
And that's okay. And that's what's happening. But every day is a new day for me, and every day is a learning process.
Right.
So it just sort of dawned on me at that time.
Role.
It is a new role.
Yeah.
And I don't think, like, it sounds like common sense to be loving, caring, and supportive towards your mom. That sounds normal, but it's not for me. My brain doesn't think, what can you do to make your mom feel comfort? Because that has not been my role.
Right.
It's how can I comfort my children, maybe,
Right.
you know?
Exactly.
But so now I'm learning, you know, and I'm learning what makes her happy, and it makes her feel loved and supported with these like little medical things.
Yeah.
Because she's getting older, she's feeling scared, isolated, things that come with that age. So
yeah,
I'm telling you what, there's so much to learn.
Yeah.
There's so much to learn.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you have any nail salon wisdom today?
I think we always have some nail salon wisdom, don't we?
Let's see. My nail salon wisdom is don't take no for an answer. So I went in and in my head I wanted red chrome, and he said I can't do it.
Oh, why?
Because they don't make red chrome, and he's never done red chrome, and so
They got the chrome. Do you know that they have 6 different chromes? Sorry, we're gonna go off on a nail.
So there's silver chrome, gold chrome, copper chrome, black chrome.
That many chrome. She's like, which one do you want? I said, I don't know. I've never had to choose chrome.
Well, they didn't have red chrome.
They had put the chrome on any color.
I know. But you have to pick. Anyway. You just make sure you get it done. You can figure it out. There's a chrome for everything.
So that's right. Okay. I'm gonna say that it's never too late to be what you might have been.
True.
And maybe something even better.
Yeah.
So, whether that would be a new career, it might be that for you. It might not be. It might be a new hobby. Don't be afraid. Maybe there's something you've always said, I wish I could learn to play the piano, or I wish I could, take up, maybe you want to join the pickleball craze. I don't know.
Yeah, because I have to say, honestly, think about this. Time does not stop. Okay. And as cliche that sounds, life is short. Seriously, you have a choice every single day. Am I going to feel sorry for myself, compare myself to others, wish that things were different? No, you're gonna embrace life for that day. It might be difficult to roll out of bed. Believe me, I know that. Give it everything you've got. Do some stretches, get out of bed, go do something fun. If you're stuck in here, make a phone call.
Listen to
phone
us.
a friend.
What? Listen to us.
Yeah, listen to us. Go to past issues. But it's, if you reach out to somebody else, you're going to get out of your own brain. But life is too short. Go take your risks now. Take your risks now.
Yep.
You're not going to get a second chance.
No. So, go try something new. Try a new hobby. Try a new food. Whatever it might be.
Go shopping.
Right.
Buy a new outfit.
Yeah. All right. Next time we're going to be talking about relationships, because we've all had them. And they can be difficult at times. So we are going to be chatting about that. But until then,
stay sunny and sassy.
That's right. And don't forget to keep showing up for yourself. So we will see you
next time.